Now, a political tug-of-war that shook the very foundation of Rivers State may finally be inching closer to truce. Now, after months of relentless power struggles between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Martin Amaewhule, the two parties appear to be stepping back from the brink. And in the past few days, Governor Fubara declared that no sacrifice is too big for peace, while both he and Amaewhule reportedly met in private following a fresh truce brokered by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
This week, we saw the governor and his political rivals camp engaging in face-to-face discussions, signaling what could be the start of a true reconciliation or a fragile ceasefire. But what does this really mean for governance in Rivers State, and is this peace or just a political pause? And so joining us now to help unpack all of these is Dr. Promise Ogele. He is a political analyst with deep insight into the South-South political landscape. Dr. Promise, we want to say thank you so much for joining us this morning. And let's just start with, what many are now calling a turning point with this latest meeting between Governor Fubara and Amaewhule's group. What do you make of it? Let's start there.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a welcome development. It's all about Rivers State and development. Conflict is complex. The conflict in Rivers State is complex. Given the fact that the two major arms of government are contending with each other. So that has brought a showdown in governance in Rivers State before the declaration of emergency rule. So the peace move is a welcome development, and I think Rivers people are happy with that move.
All right, Dr. Ogele. Dr. Ogele, yes, we're with you. So, Governor Fubara said that no sacrifice is too big for peace. We're wondering whether this signals that he is prepared for compromise. If he is prepared for compromise, how much of a compromise should the people of Rivers State actually expect? And would this be a kind of compromise that the people of Rivers State would actually also perhaps, what's the word now?
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Judith. What do you think, Dr. Ogele?
Well, the fact is that not everybody is comfortable with alien rule in Rivers State. So if Fubara had said that no price is too much to pay for peace, it implies that he can do anything for peace, even using his personal rights to ensure that there is peace in Rivers State. It is not easy because as a sitting governor that was suspended, you have to go to another arm of government to discuss how you can come back to office. It's not as easy as people are thinking. So if you look at it, there's this level of governance. But however, they're of the same political family. So you can see the role of the external forces and governance in Rivers State. That has helped in brokering peace that we are seeing today.
Okay.
Right.
So, Doctor, we've got graphics here.
Hello?
Of some of the. Yes,
yeah, we can hear you, Doctor.
There's a bit of a delay, so if you would also factor that in as we converse. Now, we have a list of points just before Governor Fubara's suspension, reasons why he was actually suspended. If you take note, he had a meeting with the president and also the FCT minister, and then another meeting with Martin Amaewhule. Now, these are some of those reasons. Refusal to present the Rivers State Appointment Bill 2024 to the Rivers State House of Assembly, which, of course, had the issues of the recognition of the leadership of the legislature. There's also authorized or approving, hang on a second, that went out too fast. But in light of the Supreme Court's ruling that he never presented an appropriation bill to 2024 and still does not have an appropriation law for 2025, hindering or obstructing the Rivers State House of Assembly, which is another arm of government protected by the Constitution. It goes on like so. Regarding these two meetings, one with the president, which we would all assume that brings together him and Wike, then the Martin Amaewhule meeting. What should we expect was discussed, especially with Martin Amaewhule, because that seems to be the very focal point of the entire issues that Rivers State has come to witness since from before?
The fact is that we must understand that when there is conflict, there must be a third party in the first place. And Supreme Court has taken care of most of these issues by disbanding the governance or the organs of government in Rivers State, the imposition of alien rule in Rivers State, and the presentation of budget to the National Assembly through the President, and solve part of the problems. But I think in this deal, in their peace deal, in the negotiation, they may have tabled all these things. They may have looked at it before arriving at a conclusion. I don't think that there is anything for Fubara to have joined the predecessor in his uncle's burial yesterday, and the interim was also the speaker. It means that they have resolved some of these issues. They are of the same family. What I'm trying to let you know is that there is no issue in the political space that cannot be resolved. Although there may be reservation value. What I mean reservation value, if the peace deal is anchored on, or how do I put it, is anchored on negative peace. When I mean negative peace, I mean a situation where absence of crisis, conflict, but there is no harmonious relationship. It means that it may find it difficult to have a sustainable peace in terms of working relationship. But what they do is they just go deal with people based on official basis. And politics has to do with a little bit relationship, harmonious relationship to work it out, especially when it has to do with pro-poor.
What about the legal aspect of it as well? Because at the core of this, one of them is the legitimacy of the House, leadership of the House of Assembly. If you can hear me clearly, sir, what about that legal part of it? How can they ascertain the leadership constitutionally, correctly moving forward? Amaewhule-led faction or otherwise?
I'm not getting you.
You were talking about the peace deal and the negative effect, whether negatively or positively. One thing is certain: one party would have to relinquish for another, for the sake of peace, and as a solution. But another thing that is at the core of this problem is the legal issue regarding the House, regarding the leadership of the House Assembly, of the State House Assembly.
Yeah, that issue will also be resolved to an extent because.
So I'm asking how? How would it be resolved? Yeah. How can he move forward constitutionally?
Yeah, everything is about the governor. The governor has his own group at a period of the conflict. So I think one of it is his chief of staff, the suspended chief of staff, and that one is Oko Jumbo, who was also working with him. I think when in the negotiation table, some of these things may have been resolved. Then concerning the legal issue, I think they will establish a process of withdrawing some of these matters. But if they are unable to do so, then it means that the peace deal will not be sustainable.
I'm glad you're pointing this out because there were two factions before it, and this really what was the crux of this of conflict that we're seeing. But most importantly is Fubara's godfather, alleged godfather, and that's Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. You're talking about the terms of this peace deal, whether negatively or positively. How will he play in all of this? Is quite the influential figure in this entire matter. With the factions that we saw with the State House of Assembly and Fubara as well. How will he play in this peace deal, and what do you ascertain his role will be moving forward?
Well, if a conflict is managed, the external forces, just like you mentioned, Governor's godfather, is involved in the conflict. It means that having a resolve with him, well, I think that they must have factored a way forward. It's not all about them, it's about Rivers. And the state of Rivers State now is a lot of people are not comfortable with the situations, especially in the aspect of the governance structure that have been suspended. A lot of citizens, Rivers people are not happy with that. So I think the Fubara's predecessor is also aware of that. And having seen them together, I think they will find a way of dealing with those issues.
Dr. Ogele, I think I'm going to ask the critical question now. And the critical question is this. The president is very partial to the FCT minister, as we have seen from very recent activities. He stepped in to also trying to help with the situation we see between the FCT minister, Wike, and, of course, the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara. Now, the Amaewhule-led group, they are partial to the FCT minister. My question is, should we be surprised? And also noting that the president in his speeches from recently says everyone is welcome into the APC, and he welcomed very celebratory the governor of Delta State for defecting. Might we see a defection as a means of compromise for peace in Rivers State come the next few weeks? Could it be considered, is my question.
You can't have peace without compromise. It's always there. In politics, what is paramount is the interests, especially the interests of the state and the interests of the politician. The policymakers cannot politic without compromise. You must always have a common ground to deal with issues. Whatever conditions they're given to him, for me, I just feel that he's also a politician waiting for him to be called back or to lift, or for them to lift up his suspension. Then thereafter, we can know what will happen. For now, we cannot postulate on any issue until his suspension is lifted. He's a human being. He has his own feelings too. He has his own ego. You know, so we cannot actually predict what will happen until his suspension is lifted.
Let me toe the same line as but also ask it from the other side, right? If one of the conditions of this peace deal, or this compromise in this peace deal, is that he defects to the APC, or the leadership of the River State turn their colors from the PDP to the APC, wouldn't it be too obvious at the APC in this hostile takeover? And wouldn't it be contradictory to the presidency's speech during Democracy Day, or saying that this is not a one-party system, or they're not trying to steer towards a one-party system, and those who are carpet crossing are doing it at their own free will, and saying that APC is the party to be at?
I'm not getting. I don't know. I'm not getting you. Please.
All right.
Yes. Can I hear you again? I don't.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Oh, it's fine.
I'm with you.
I was asking about, I was throwing the same line with Mazzino, but this time asking another way around. If on this deal, or this compromise that Fubara was to make, one of them was to defect, again, this is hypothetical, we don't know for certain, would it not be contradictory to President Tinubu's speech during the Democracy Day, when he said that the mass defections we're seeing to the party is not necessarily a hostile takeover, but because parties or other state governors and other politicians see that APC is the place to be?
Well, politicians say different things and do another thing. In terms of politics, it is what we practice in Africa is more a guided democracy, and more often they wouldn't want to entertain opposition because there is fear to lose grip of power. So the president may have said something or had said something on the democracy at the National Assembly, that does not imply that you will not enjoy if there's one-party system. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that is every leader in Africa craves for that. They don't entertain opposition. They want to remain in power. They want to control everything. So I don't think that what we have said will be different from what other presidents or had in the past in Africa have done.
Dr. Ogele, I want to say thank you very much for... Yes, we're here. Thank you very much for having this conversation with us. It's very interesting, the dynamics to it and the different perspectives that we can see this from. But one thing is for sure, that it seemed like a very interesting photo opportunity to bring together the warring parties. Thank you very much once again for joining us this morning, and thank you for going through this rigor of bad network and communication. But we do get most of what you've told. Thank you very much, sir.